dashboard alerts. Your presenter today is Scott Weber of Customer Effects, and I just wanted to mention a couple things before we begin. You may have noticed that your line is placed on mute. However, if at any point during this demo you come up with a question, please feel free to post that to the question log. And from there, at the end of this demo, anytime we have left, we will get to as many questions as possible. But that is all I have, so I'm going to hand over the controls to Scott Weber so that we can get it started. All right, Scott, you should have those now. Yep.
Okay. Give me a second to share my screen. Almost there. Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. As Brianna said, thanks everyone for joining again. I think for some of you that this might be the third time now you've seen one of the functional areas of KnowledgeSync. This is the third in our series of the kind of primary features and benefits of that alerting solution. Today we're going to show what they call the Webcaster function. Some of you may just want to call it a dashboard, and that's really what it's doing, is producing dashboards based on the SalesLogix data of your choosing. And I'll kind of go through the moving parts. This is not intended to be a technical deep dive by any means, but rather just sort of show you the moving pieces and parts behind the scenes, and more importantly, what results you can kind of expect from that. So what we're looking at currently is the KnowledgeSync Event Manager, and I've opened up the alerts area under the Sage SalesLogix. And so we're looking at a listing of the out-of-the-box pack of alerts that come with KnowledgeSync that are specifically built or pre-built for SalesLogix. So we started from those to build today's dashboards that we're going to show. So under the events area, I can see a list of all of those events, and you notice down at the bottom we've got 3 of them that we've built that are specifically designed to create these web sites and webcast presentations. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the one that says show me tickets that have been open for more than 4 days. Now, in the previous demos we showed you that we can not only create tickets from an incoming email through the email responder. That was one of our previous demos. We've also shown in the first one that you can send your users or your customers an email alert based on a new ticket arriving in the system. And this particular type of alert is the dashboard feature. And I've clicked on the webcast tab within this specific event. And what you can see down below is the actual HTML code that's being fired whenever KnowledgeSync has been told to trigger this particular event. So like all the other KnowledgeSync events, they fire at whatever interval that you choose. And so depending on the requirement for your business, you maybe want these to fire every minute, or maybe every 15 minutes, every day, whatever is appropriate for the type of data you're trying to display on the website. And so what we're looking at here, again, I'm not a developer, so I really can't explain to you what all of this is, but what I can tell you is this is the HTML code that's designed to formulate the actual dashboard itself, and that is the data component of it. So this is hooked into SalesLogix. We've set up the table structure, and we've told it what fields we want to display. And you can see some of that here. We're going to show the customer's name, the ticket ID, the urgency code, the hours. And again, because this is HTML code, of course you can make modifications to this. This is what you get out of the box. We would fully expect that anybody that puts one of these into production would probably be making some kind of modifications or adjustment. Short answer is you can add any SalesLogix data to these dashboards that you want. We just try to keep it simple for today's demonstration. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of this one and show you that we also have one for overdue opportunities that we're going to show, and another one for overdue activities. And so all of these are currently set to fire every minute so that we can truly look at some data during the demo today. And these have already fired. I had this up and running before the call started, so you're going to get to see data. All right, so the end result of this is that KnowledgeSync creates these web pages. And so I'm simply looking at a directory of my choosing on my local machine. This would probably be on a server at your corporate location. You can also make these web pages public by creating a public IP, a public URL. And what that means is that you can allow customers and your employees to view these dashboards even if they're not on your network, because they are a web page that can be presented through a website. So if we double click on the ticket one, you can see this is what the dashboard is actually going to look like. So for every ticket that met the filtering criteria, and we told it if it's so many days old, I want to see it on this particular dashboard. You can see we've got this particular website open, and based on the style sheet we chose, we have control over things like the font, the width of the columns, the layouts, and so forth. That is all completely adjustable and configurable. And the way you do part of this is there's another, it's called the KnowledgeSync Webcaster HTM. That is the default template that actually contains or creates, that's not very interesting, but it has the actual style sheet. What that means is you can have your logo, your colors, your borders, and some of the other graphical properties of every single KnowledgeSync Webcaster dashboard so that they all look the same. That's one of the benefits. The second benefit is you don't have to start from scratch for every one of these that you build, because every one of the dashboards is actually a composite of that template, that style sheet that I showed you, and then the actual data table, which is what you're seeing here now, is the actual data it's pulling from SalesLogix. The other thing that some of our customers have done with this, they will actually have, and they do have, a large monitor at the front of their call center who's working on trouble tickets. And so they literally have at the front of the room a giant TV that's showing this dashboard so that all the support center staff can see in real time or near real time, because I think they refresh it every minute or so, they can see all the open tickets in the system without having to run reports, build groups, and navigate around within SalesLogix. They don't even have to be in SalesLogix to see we have a new ticket from Sunny Wireless or whatever it is, and we need to get into SalesLogix to work on that ticket. Now, these are updated every time the KnowledgeSync event fires. It refreshes the data, and you can build the web page itself to refresh so that you truly can have a near real-time display of exactly what's going on based on the data set you chose. One of the other benefits of these web pages is that they are viewable on iPads or iPhones or any of your portable devices and or computers that have a web browser. If they can browse the web, they can see these dashboards. So this truly is a multi-function dashboard viewable by any web-enabled device. And I think that's really, really neat. One of the things that I thought of, this would be a great complement to the SalesLogix mobile client, which a lot of you maybe have deployed. And right now, the existing mobile client does not have any groups and doesn't have any dashboards in it. We're predicting that will come eventually as they continue to build that out. But this is a way to give those mobile devices dashboards and group listings of data that are important to them, and these can be embedded right inside of that SalesLogix mobile client, literally just one click away. Okay, now next thing I'm going to do is show you these dashboards actually sitting in SalesLogix. So SalesLogix has a function in it called a widget. Not very unique, but widgets allow you to embed web pages inside of SalesLogix's web client. So we're looking at the 3 dashboards that KnowledgeSync is creating for us now natively inside of the dashboard area of SalesLogix. Exactly the same data presented in exactly the same way, and you can refresh this data either manually or you can build in through JavaScript to have this dashboard refresh automatically. So if you really are a person that lives and dies on data, you could stare at this screen all day and watch these dashboards refresh themselves without even having to touch your computer. Now, you may be saying, well, I can already build groups of data in SalesLogix. That is true, but the big difference is that the KnowledgeSync dashboards have a lot more flexibility. As you can see, I'm displaying in this particular overdue activity dashboard, I can see that Brian McNulty not only has a meeting on his activity list, but he has 7 of them. So I'm able to do mathematics, and summary data. I can also do things like change the data to red or yellow to show urgency if I've got certain tickets that are truly critical and going way past due. Based on how I built the Webcaster website, I can do all those cool things and have that type of stuff display right inside of SalesLogix. Now, in addition to having these dashboards in the dashboard area, we just did that for convenience today, we can also have these as a tab in any one of the SalesLogix entity areas. And one of the things I can think of right off that would be valuable would be that I'd like to have an accounting system dashboard. And remember, this takes you back to the fact that KnowledgeSync is not only able to monitor SalesLogix data, it can monitor any database of any business application that you're using in your organization. So we can have it through an ODBC connection actually reading data from your accounting system and displaying that on a tab on the account record so that your users have a live view into what's going on with that customer inside of SalesLogix. And again, because it's a web page, I can show them that same data on my iPad. That is pretty cool. So again, we've really just scratched the surface here to show you a simple example of what KnowledgeSync Webcaster can do. But if the wheels are turning, you can probably imagine there's a lot more you can do with it based on the fact you're not constrained by what can be built in the SalesLogix system itself. I can put in SalesLogix anything that can be built on a website that's driven by data and present it any way I want to present it. Okay, well, I think that's what I was hoping to accomplish today. Brianna, do we have any questions from anybody?
You know, right now we don't have any questions. You must have done a very good job.
Oh, that's what I think. All right. Well, that's great. Well, that concludes today's demonstration of the Webcaster feature of KnowledgeSync. And again, I'll say I really scratched the surface of it here, and I think that using your imagination, you can do a whole lot more with this tool than just what we showed you today. All right.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. And if any of you out there do come up with a question, we just had one pop up. Let's see if
sure.
Can this be displayed in the LAN client on a web form?
Yes, it can. The LAN client can display web pages also in a tab on a web form, so it absolutely can do that. If you're, I can't tell you which version of the LAN supported that. I'm positive it was any 7.x or newer can do it. So the answer is yes.
Okay. Well, we don't have anything else then, but if you do, like I was saying, if you do think of anything once you get off this call, please feel free to either email